Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you've all had a beautiful week and are waiting for Game Week 4 as I am. I also hope you had a good Game Week 3 and have taken a break from Fantasy Premier League for a while, and I hope you're all ready. So as I mentioned in my previous video, I'm going to take you through my transfer thoughts. Basically these are the players and teams which have impressed me and many of you as well. So the guys who can potentially think of bringing into your teams to get more points. Before I start, I'd like to thank all of you for the continued support you've given me. I really appreciate it. And so let's start. So as you can see on your screens right now, we have Brentford, particularly the defense, which has really caught my eye. So we have Raya, Johnson, and Pinnock, all 4.6 million. So it's relatively easy to bring them into your squads. The one who has really caught my eye has to be Raya, 4.6 million keeper. Brentford have relatively easy fixtures on paper. So you can think of bringing them in. Johnson is the centre back there. He's a commanding centre back for Brentford. So he's 4.6 million who starts every game. I will recommend him also. Pinnock is the left wing back because I believe Brentford play with a back five. So like the left wing back and the right wing back are usually going to go forward to try and get assists and goals for themselves. So that's why Pinnock is there, 4.6 million, gets those assists and goals. So yeah, that's it for Brentford. So now we can go on to Manchester United. This is the team everyone is talking about since the coming in of Ronaldo. So people are mainly talking about what they're going to do to bring in Ronaldo, and the player who's mostly sacrificed is Bruno. So for me, I would advise that if you really want Ronaldo, you need to sell Bruno so that you can afford Ronaldo. But for me, I've been thinking, and I think I'm just going to keep Bruno against Newcastle, and maybe moving on for the next game week because I want to see what Ronaldo can do first before I bring him into the team. Obviously, Ronaldo is going to bang in goals for United, but we haven't seen yet what he can do in the league. And the other player is Greenwood. Um, Mostly people don't know what is going to happen to Greenwood. Is he going to be on the bench? Is he going to start? Basically, the coming in of Ronaldo has made many managers to fear what's going to happen to Greenwood or Sancho. But I heard Sancho has a knock, so maybe Greenwood can start for the time being. But let's not forget that also Rashford is yet to come back to the team, and obviously, he's going to get into the first team. So Manchester United is becoming tricky to know who to put in, who is not going to start. Is Ole going to change to Pep and start putting different players? So that's the thing with Manchester United. You just don't know how they're going to line up. So I'm going to keep Bruno for me and bring Ronaldo in and later. And I also advise you guys to also do the same. But if you really, really want him, you can do it. But you have to get rid of Fernandes so as to bring in Ronaldo. So the next team here is Man City. For Man City is basically the same thing as you have witnessed in the previous seasons because of the Pep roulette. He always changes his teams every match, so you don't know which team is going to start. You don't know which players are going to start. So, for example, Mahrez hasn't played the last two fixtures, and you're guaranteed he's going to play against Leicester. But for a 8.9 million midfielder who doesn't play every match, it's advisable to go for another midfielder who is guaranteed to play every match. So here we have Grealish, who has basically played every match and is also a very good option, because I think he was 80 million. I mean, he was 100 million. So I don't think Pep is going to put him on the bench for considering his price tag. So I think if you want someone from Man City, you can go for Grealish. We also have Ferran Torres, who is also playing as a striker. So he's striker and is putting the mid in Fantasy Premier League. So he's also a good option to have, because for Man City, the striker is always going to score a lot of goals. And you have seen with Ferran Torres, he scored a lot of goals. For me, Man City players, it's a no-go zone because you might say Ferran Torres is going to start every game or Grealish is going to start every game, and then Pep comes up with something, changes the whole team. We know Kevin De Bruyne is yet to come back from injury, so KDB might come in and one of these guys might be displaced. So with Man City, you never know how the rotation will be. So I will advise you to stay away from Man City players. But if you want a Man City player, go for Ederson, because Ederson is going to start every match unless he picks up an injury. So yeah, so that's it for Man City. Just avoid the players. So next we have Spurs Tottenham. For the league leaders, I know I've made my friend very, very happy by saying that. So we have the league leaders here. So basically you have to, in my opinion, you have to own one of them. So here we have Son, Reguilon, and Dyer. Dyer is the cheapest out of all these guys, 4.6 million. He's played every match, kept 3 clean sheets. So I think it's advisable to go for one of the defensive options for Tottenham, because they keep getting clean sheets. So Dyer is the alternative I'll be looking at, because it's 4.6 million, who is cheap. Then we have Reguilon. Reguilon is that defender who gives you assist and can also score. I'm not sure if he's on corners, but I think he is. So he's also guaranteed corners. If maybe Dyer or Davinson Sanchez scores a goal, you also get the points for the assist. So I think those are solid options. Son, scoring option, he scored 2 goals already. So he's looking good attacking wise. So I'll also advise, if you want Son, I've also been looking at Son to try and bring him to the team. And there's so many options in the mid. So if you really want Son, you can also go for him. For Spurs, it all depends with you. But I think their defense looks good. So maybe Dyer or Reguilon. Even if you want Sanchez, also a cheap option. But if you want the goals, you have Son for 10.1 million. So it's also not a bad option to consider. Then next we have Aston Villa. So for Aston Villa, I will advise you, if you have any Aston Villa players, just get rid of them while you can, because they have the toughest fixtures on paper out of all the teams. Because the next 3 fixtures they play Chelsea, Everton, United, which are all tough fixtures. Although you can make a case for Ings, who always scores in big matches. He can score. So you can keep him if you want. If you trust him enough, you can keep him. But yeah, Aston Villa fixtures are tough. So I'd advise you to sell if you have any of them. So now we can look at the respective positions of players. And here we have the midfield. We're going to start with the midfield. For midfield, we have Traore and Jota. These are basically the players who have caught my eye. And I'm sure their fixtures have caught many of you guys also. So we have Adama Traore, who I think Wolves have the easiest fixtures on paper, because they play Watford, Brentford, Southampton, and they also play game week 7. They also play a relatively easy team. So you could go for Traore. We have also Trincao. I saw that this guy is back. Podence is also back for the midfield options. So I think you can go for any of Wolves players. I would recommend you get one of them because they have easy fixtures. The problem with Traore, he doesn't score a lot of goals, but I reckon he's going to score in one of those three fixtures. He's going to score 2 goals or even 3 goals out of those 3 fixtures. So I would advise you to get Traore or Trincao or Podence. For Jota, it's a tricky situation for him because of Firmino and rotation. But he's that guy who can score when he comes off the bench. So he's 7.6 million, which is not that expensive. So you can also go for him. I heard that Firmino has an injury. I don't know how long he'll be out, but you can think of Jota. They play Leeds, Palace, and Brentford, which are easy fixtures for them. So Jota is also there. You can think about him because of his fixtures. So that is it for the midfield options. So now we have the forward options, where we have the 2 parts of the forward option. So this is the first part where we have Calvert-Lewin, Bamford, and Wilson. So for me, Calvert-Lewin has the easier 3 fixtures. Game week 4, 5, and 6. He has the easiest fixtures out of these options. These are basically I'm not saying the cheap options, but the options people are looking to get. So Calvert-Lewin, Burnley, Aston Villa, Norwich. But after the Norwich match, not so sure if it's game week 7 or 8. They have relatively hard fixtures from there. So if you want points instantly, game week 4, 5, and 6, he's the main guy. Then Bamford, game week 4 they play Liverpool, but from game week 5 continues until I think game week 10, they have easy fixtures. They have, after Wolves, I think Leeds have the easiest fixtures. So if you want someone for the long run, you can look at Bamford. For Wilson, 7.5 million. Wilson is that type of striker who you're sure is going to score goals against any team, provided he has the support from the other players. And Saint Maximin is on form, so I think Wilson is going to score goals against Leeds, Watford. I'm not so sure about United, but maybe. So Wilson is just that differential pick from the rest. If you don't want Bamford and Calvert-Lewin, you can also look at Wilson. So the second part of forward options, where we have Lukaku, Jimenez, and Kane. Lukaku, we all saw what he did against Arsenal. He's that striker who can turn, score goals, give assists. So recommend you to get him if you want him. He's a good option to have. They play Aston Villa. I would advise, if you want to get Lukaku, get him after game week 6, because Chelsea have easy fixtures after game week 6. After they play City, they have, I think, like 4 easy fixtures or something like that. So I advise you to get Lukaku after game week 7. Then we have Jimenez, as I've mentioned. Wolves have the easiest fixtures on paper. I think Jimenez is going to score a lot of goals because they play Watford, Brentford, and Southampton next. Those are very, very easy fixtures for them. You've seen how they have played in their last 3 fixtures. They have had the most shots. I think Man City is in front of them, but they have had a lot of shots. So you can think of bringing in Jimenez, because I'm sure they're going to score in those 3 fixtures because they're relatively easy. Then for Harry Kane, I think now he's gained much fitness, so I think he's going to come back to his best. He's going to score a lot of goals. They play Crystal Palace next, Chelsea, and Arsenal. You see what they did against Man City. So I think Spurs players are a good shout. If you want any of them, you can either have Son or Kane for the attacking options. So that's also something to consider if you want the Spurs guys. Kane is also a good shout. Then for the last part, we have the Simica's replacement. I know most of you guys have Simicas in your teams, and you're trying to find ways on how to offload him. But maybe you can try and bring a third Liverpool player like Robertson or like Jota. So if you want to remove Simicas, so the players who are also cheap like him and they play every match. So we have Duffy. Brighton have relatively easy fixtures. So you can maybe think of Duffy because they play Brentford, Leicester, and Palace, which I think easy fixtures. And as I mentioned, Brighton have been good defensively, and Duffy scores a lot of headers, so I'd recommend him. Then we have Amati for Leicester. The main problem with Amati is they bought Vestergaard from Southampton. So I think he has an injury. So if he comes back, I think Amati will go back to the bench. So if you want him for the short term, you can also think of him. He's only 4.1 million. Then you have Livramento from Southampton, 4.1 million. Plays a lot of matches. So you can also think of bringing him in. Also a cheap option for 4.1 million. So that's it for the video. I hope that you have gotten some good advice from the video you've just watched, and you'll try and implement it to your teams so that you can get a higher rank in your rankings. Anyway, that's it from me, and I wish you all the best in game week 4, and see you all guys later. Bye bye.